here you go. This is Emily C., my new bestie.
I hate the idea that someone out there hates me. I even hate thinking that Al-Qaeda hates me. I think if they got to know me, they wouldn't hate me.
This stole the show. Emily C. was phenomenal.
There's something you need to know.
What?
You're doing great.
Look at my baby. Here she is. Emily. 10 out of 10. Huge fan.
I see Emily C says 123. I trust her. She's really good.
Listen, Turtle, you gotta watch your language. I'm already live. So you need to follow the FCC guidelines.
She destroyed, left nothing in her path. It was so good.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I just have to say, first things first, when you guys leave comments like this, like when I'm sitting here freaking out that I'm like, oh my God, I'm going live, what am I doing? It makes me really happy. Like it is so helpful. So Cusco, right, thank you for that. And yeah, just, you guys are the best. It is very encouraging. I'm very happy to be doing this today. So Common Sense Investigator and I were going to do a show today, kind of like recapping the week at Kelsey's trial. And then after Will's amazing stream yesterday, I was like, I feel like we said everything we were going to say on the show tomorrow. So let's like save that for when there's like new news from family court or something else in Kelsey's case to talk about. So stay tuned for that. But I had already like scheduled Carter's time so that I could have this afternoon. So I was like, oh, well, I'm still going to do something on here. So thank you for being here. And I'm very excited to be able to talk to you guys about Sandra Birchmore. I'm going to put a poll. I was just writing this. I'm going to put a poll in the chat to kind of see like where we should start today. Hey, Meatball Morrissey Sketty Stain, how was lunch with Nurse Kim? I listened to Nurse Kim and Betero this morning, and just like everything about their Sunday services together just starts my day in the best way. Yes, so if you didn't get the chance to watch Will the Glaire's fundraiser yesterday, he did a 12-hour stream to raise money for Kelsey Fitzsimmons. They ended up raising over $25,000 in the 12 hours. And every single second of that show was spectacular. Like from start to finish, there is not a second you would want to miss. I had it in an earbud all day long. He had just he just does those so well. The like different dynamics of people popping in and out. It was just so much fun. The only bummer, and I know that Jimmy's not going to hear this because he's live right now with Rebecca Lavoie, is that Jimmy almost was going to sing at the very end and then didn't. And I really think he should have. So we're going to talk to him about that. But yes, okay, it is a sunny day today, and it's like sunny and not freezing, like still kind of freezing, but like feels like spring is coming. It's lovely. Thank you. I really had so much fun doing that show, and Bob Mata told me that I was good vibes, and I clipped that for myself so that I can like rewatch it anytime that my stupid brain is telling me that I shouldn't be doing this, because that meant so much. It was just really lovely. Meatball Morrissey Sketty Stain says about lunch with Nurse Kim that it was delicious and they were productive. They painted, Meatball Morrissay Sketty Stain is such a good friend. She's helping Kim like get settled into her new place. And like that's so selfless and kind. I just love that. Let's talk about Jimmy. He's busy, so we can get away with saying some stuff. Jimmy is my favorite person. So I know that's not really what you were looking for, but what a just creative. I love the things that he comes out with. The fundraiser really was a blast. And thank you. I appreciate that. Nefarious Shenanigans, duh. I love that name every time I see that. It must be snowing in Canton. Okay, so let's see this poll. Okay, hold on. I don't know how to see it. Wait, I can only see. Okay. So where are you coming into Sandra's case today? 4% brand new. Welcome. Yay. 35%, I know some details. 58%, I've been following it. And 3%, I could teach the class. Who is that? Because I would like some help. Because I would probably put myself in like I've been following it. It's a pretty like, in terms of, if I compare everything to Karen Reed's case, like there were so many moving pieces and people to learn and documents back and forth that it, and like testimony to watch, that it felt like even as like an expert on the case, like there was always more to learn or remember. Like the other day, I was watching Fervent's, like one of the recap shows that he does. And I forgot that Dr. Frank Sheridan existed. So anyways, I say that to say, in comparison to Karen Reed, like everything is kind of like straightforward, but this is pretty like linear in terms of the facts of the case. But there is a lot to what was done to Sandra Birchmore outside of the like actual event of her murder. And there are a lot of like really disgusting characters to learn about. Boozy, I appreciate that because you are spectacular. And we got dragged on the forensic room. If you call them the foreskin girls, then they say that we're sexually degrading them. But I don't know if you saw, but you and I got dragged last night. So that was nice of them. They're just like really so kind, and like they totally get it that this is real life. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm not going down that today. Not today, Satan. Anyways, so okay, let me take a step back. And the reason why I wanted to do that poll was it will kind of impact like where we should start. I think we'll still just start with the most recent filing. You guys know I like a timeline and I like things to go in order. We're going to go like backwards order today. And I'll give a little like recap for the new people so that you can come in. But the big things I want to say about this are we've been seeing cases with like bad police officers where it's like Noonan's a liar, like you're a bad police officer and that you like framed an innocent woman and put her through hell to protect yourself. Proctor's a bad police officer in that like you're texting gross things about people that you're investigating. You have like nudes on your phone. The officers in this case are on a whole other level of hell, so far down below these like these are like scum of the earth humans, aside from the fact that we're also going to see some bad police officers and some of our like, regular old Norfolk County corruption cover-up type stuff. But the men that Sandra Birchmore should have been able to trust that we're going to learn about and couldn't are truly, truly disgusting predators, just scum of the earth, just gross. Okay, I need to stop saying it's not going to happen today. I appreciate everybody who always has suggestions for me in the comments later. They'll say like, when you're going to say instead take a breath, and I'm like, I don't know when it's going to come out of my mouth. It just comes out of my mouth all the time. Today is not the day. Okay. Rambo John asked a good question that like the internet is asking right now. Like I said, we're starting at the end, we're going backwards. So the question is it true that Farwell's brother was Sandra's baby's father? I heard that somewhere. You heard that somewhere because there was a very ambiguous footnote in a recent filing that basically said, so the text in the that the footnote related to said, you basically like, you should let Matthew Farwell out of jail because he didn't leave Massachusetts like other bad people in this case did. And then the footnote is like, it says, these include Matthew Farwell's brother. So chuck your brother right under the bus because you're a good guy. And then it said, Matthew Farwell's brother, who blah, 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 as well as the biological father of Sandra Birchmore's child, who has not yet been named. So basically, you could read that sentence as like this thing about Matthew Farwell's brother and this other thing about Matthew Farwell's brother is that he was the baby's father. Or you could read it as we're talking about two different people, and one of them is the brother, the other is the unnamed father. Then they clarified and rewrote the sentence basically to make it say the brother and a different person who's the unnamed father. But it's like still debatable for me. It's or divine. You know, we'll find out eventually. And if it is his brother, then that's going to be just embarrassing for them the way that they handled this. Yes, this is something we need to just like, oh, I guess that this is where I should go with this is this comment says what they all did to Sandra was pure evil. And I just want to say truly, truly pure evil to the point that like, please take care of yourself when we're talking about this. If it's too heavy for you, like mentally at this time, like go take care of yourself. If you need breaks, like take a break, come back. And also, I think this is one of those like watch the words you use in the chat about it because they did some really sick things that YouTube probably doesn't like to hear about because who would like to hear about any of this? Hold on, my butt just fell asleep. Hold on. Okay. I'm all the way over here. Okay, now I'm comfortable. I got this chair. It's like the biggest chair on, I think this chair is made for like 300-pound men. I need to take a picture of it and show you guys sometime. But when I first started on here, I didn't have a chair at all. I was standing. And then I got a chair and it didn't go up high enough. And I like, anytime I was on with other people, like I was like all the way down here and it looked ridiculous. So now I got this chair that is literally designed for like very large, like 500-pound men. And that's what I'm sitting in now. It's very comfortable, but it goes up really high. So you could use it at like a standing desk. Okay. So here's where we're going to start. This, hold on, let's see. That's fine. So I'll give you guys, for people who are new, kind of like a little backstory. Sandra Birchmore was, this is Sandra Birchmore. Actually, I think I have everything coming up, so I don't have to try to just go off the cuff. But this is a picture from the Facebook group for Justice for Sandra Birchmore. If you're on Facebook and you are not in that group, I would definitely recommend joining it to show her friends and family support and to be updated. You know, I love a timeline. So I I'm not going to go over all of this right now. I want to do another show where we kind of do like the full kind of like introduction to Sandra Birchmore and go through the full timeline. But what's important here, if you're new, is when Sandra Birchmore was 12 years old, a 12-year-old in 2010, she joined the Police Explorers program. It was a program, everything about it seems sketchy. There have been some research done on these programs that there's like a lot of shady things that have gone on in these Police Explorers programs, just gross. But it's at its best, at its core, it's meant to be a program for kids that kind of like exposes them to policing, and you get to kind of like hang out at the police station and become friends with the police officers and learn about law enforcement. And I think probably at its core, it's meant to kind of like show kids that like police officers are people you can trust. Wasn't accomplished here. And just give kids a safe place. Again, everything that Sandra was put through is contrary to what the intentions are. So in 2010, when Sandra joined, Matthew Farwell was like a volunteer or something with the Police Explorers. In 2012, Farwell became full-time police officer at the Stoughton Police Department, and continued to volunteer as an instructor in the Explorers program, because why wouldn't you if you're gross? For those of you who are not local, Stoughton is the town directly next to Canton. So we're still in Norfolk County. On April 10th, 2013, 1 month before Farwell gets married to his wife, he begins a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore, who was 15 years old at the time. I want to pause there for a second to say something that most of you probably already know, but it is not possible for an underage child to consent to a sexual relationship with an adult. So even if she had ever at any time appeared as if she was a willing participant in the relationship, that is not possible, because a 29-year-old cannot have consensual sex with a child. YouTube's probably going to hate everything about what I'm saying, but I hate it too, YouTube, so don't get mad. He was grooming her leading up to that. He was exploiting her in that moment, and he continued to groom her until the day that he took her life. Allegedly, I guess I have to say, because he's innocent until proven guilty, but like, we'll get there. I don't know how these sick men have like a radar for kind of like the vulnerable children in our society, but they kind of like always know who to hook their sick little teeth into, because Sandra and her mom. She's close with her aunt. These are the details that I don't know as well, like her family dynamics and her friends and stuff. So if you do, I would love to get updated on that. But her mom dies in 2016. And so she was kind of like already in a vulnerable place, and now add that to the mix. Thank you. Okay, essay. And grape. I'll say all the YouTube words. Thank you, Meatball Morrissey Skettysteen. Essay and grape. It sounds like trivializing like the disgusting things that she was put through. Yes, Jenny gets it. And yay, YouTube isn't like blocking you from my channel anymore. That was very weird, but I'm glad you're here. Jenny said they look for the children with the broken homes and they know what to look for. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do they have this sick radar where they're like, ooh, she looks like she got picked up late. She looks like she had to ride the bus home. Like, there's the one. Gross. Yes, Mizzy is what a mixed up girl in a mixed up world. Is that the handle? I'll link her page down below. She's been like Sandra Birchmore's turtle boy. She's been like on TV doing interviews. She knows every detail of this. She's been on podcasts. She's really been a phenomenal advocate for Sandra. So what starts to kind of like lead to what Farwell ultimately allegedly does to her. Yes, a month before this man gets married, he begins a sexual SA relationship with a 15-year-old. Lucky lady. So what ends up kind of like lighting the spark that leads to Sandra's death is in the fall of 2020, Farwell's wife gets pregnant with their third child. And Sandra now is at that age, she was 22. And so she's now an adult. And this is another place where I want to be really clear about like still what their relationship looks like. Now at 22, she can be a consensual adult in a consensual relationship. But when you have been groomed from the age of 12 by these disgusting men and you've been passed around and taken advantage of, it is impossible to look at the relationship through the lens that you would a typical relationship. So if you're just reading what we'll see in their text messages or hearing about some of the things that she says to him, it is impossible to interpret those actions of hers through like the lens of like a normal relationship. Karen D. Pasquale said, I'm a trauma-focused therapist. You're amazing. Like, you make the world, we would not be able to be a society without people like you. And the experiences my clients share are beyond disgusting. I cannot even imagine how you are able to like compartmentalize like work and how you're amazing. You're amazing. I don't know how you like go to the grocery store and not just look around at everybody being like, you're probably disgusting. The offenders of SA are often narcissists. Yeah, that tracks. Actually, Andrea Burkhart did a whole series on Robert Devine's hearing, and we'll get to that like on another day. And the way that she pegs him as like a narcissist and the way she points out in the filings, like, yep, he would say this because his ego was hurt because somebody was in his office. Now, she just does it so snarky and so spectacularly. She said something like, well, there's that narc injury. She gets him. So if it happened in, let's say, Stoughton, why would Canton go to the scene? Sandra's apartment was in Canton, but they were Stoughton police officers. So we're back in the fall of 2020, and Matthew Farwell, I assume, tells Sandra, like, Michelle's having a baby. And then Sandra's like, well, like, we've basically been in this like relationship for 10 years since I was 12, because you're disgusting. But I think it was probably impossible for her to like see that. And she said, like, I want to also have a baby with you. We'll get to that in the filings. I don't want to like paraphrase things, but she makes him impregnate her. Also, like, okay, hold on. I want to pause for a second. There is a children's book. I know that, okay. There is a children's book called Ping. If you've never heard of it before, the premise of the book is that Ping is a duck on the Yangtze River, and every day Ping and his duck friends and family leave the boat. And at the end of the day, they call the Ping and his family back to the boat. And whichever duck is the last duck coming onto the boat gets spanked on the butt. And one day, Ping's head is down under the water, and he doesn't hear them calling the ducks back onto the boat. And he realizes that if he goes onto the boat now, he's going to be last and he's going to get spanked on the butt, and he doesn't want to, so he doesn't go back on the boat at all. He stays in the river. The boat with his family drives away. He ends up getting kidnapped by another boat, and they're going to cook him and they're going to make duck soup. And basically, like, his whole life is ruined because instead of taking like the little consequence of getting spanked on the butt, he avoided that and puts himself in a position where he's gonna like life is gonna be so much worse. In the end, he finds his family. It's a children's book. I bring that up to say Farwell ends up in a position with Sandra Birchmore where he is so panicked that she is going to tell his wife about what he has been doing to her, about their relationship, that he makes a whole series of absolutely like the worst decision in if you were doing like a choose your own adventure book, he chooses every bad decision that you could possibly make in that moment. And over and over and over again, he just makes it worse and worse and worse. And the worst possible decision literally leading up to taking Sandra's life, allegedly. And guess what? In the end, your wife still also found out about the relationship. The first thing that you were scared of, you did a whole bunch of other bad things. You ended up in a much worse spot. And the thing that you were scared of originally also still happened. So if you, good humans out there, are ever in a position where you're like, oh no, I don't want that consequence, think about the other consequences that might be coming if you don't just get that one consequence that you're a little bit afraid of in that moment. Anyways, so Sandra gets pregnant. Turns out it's actually not Farwell's baby, but we only learn that after her death, and he thinks it is. So anything in any filing where it seems like Farwell is using the fact that he wasn't the father as a defense of himself is absurd, because it doesn't matter if he was or was not the father. He thought he was. And also, if you hadn't done a whole lot of stupid shit, you probably would have eventually found out that you weren't the father, and instead you made life a whole lot worse. So she finds out she's pregnant in December of 2020, and he is panicked. We'll get to that in some of the filings. Things start to get weird between them. And one day in January 20th, 2021, one of Sandra's friends calls the Stoughton Police Department and says to them that Farwell, and tells them what's been going on between Farwell and Sandra. I think about that friend a lot, where I hope that that person doesn't feel at all responsible and doesn't feel any guilt about that phone call, because they were doing the right thing at the right time, and it is all Farwell's fault that what happened to Sandra, and not that friend at all. But I worry about that person, because after that, somebody at the Stoughton Police Department is like, hey, Matt, guess what? Like, one of Sandra's friends called and told the dispatch about your underage girlfriend or whatever. I don't know how they say that. I don't know why these D-bags cover for each other, but they always do. So, yes, they are not, but I just worry. It's like, so Farwell's kind of like freaking out now. He's like, people are going to find out. My job's going to find out. This is bad. Yes. Jay Walsh, you get it. We have to like find a way to laugh at some point. It's like, and also just to be clear, because the foreskin girls don't always get this, like laughing or finding the humor in certain pieces of a really terrible situation is an important way to get through it. It is not making fun of anybody in this at all. And no, it was not his baby in the end. She thought it was, though, or we don't know what she thought, but she told him that it was. Hello, busting Justin's fridge acid. See, the fridge acid, it's like, we have to laugh. Law girls, if you have anything that I'm getting wrong or you need to fill in the blanks, please do. So Farwell comes over to Sandra's apartment a couple times. He starts being really weird. Again, we'll get to that in one of the filings. He starts like looking in her closet and like just doing weird stuff. He asked her for a key to her apartment and for the code to the front entrance. She even one good thing. Oh, you guys, I'm all over the place. But actually, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, actually, so one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was because all week after seeing Kelsey testify, I was thinking about how empowering for her it must have been to finally like be able to tell her story after hearing people lie, like hearing Justin lie, hearing Noonan lie. It must have just felt so good for her to finally be able to get up and be like, this is what happened. And then for Richie at Microdots to I'm all over the place. Richie and Microdots told her story so well and was able to do that because Kelsey is here by the grace of God to be able to tell the truth. And it made me start thinking about what Noonan's story would have been if Kelsey had not have survived, and what Justin's story would have been if Kelsey had not survived, and the way that they would have been able to just control the narrative and make up whatever they wanted to and not have had anybody to check them. And it makes me sad for Sandra because that is what is happening to her story because she's not here to say, wait a second. The one really helpful thing in this case is that she was very active, like over text messages with her friends. People have described her as just like a very open person, like almost to a fault of like no boundaries with anybody. She'll just kind of like spill her guts to anybody, which ends up being really helpful for us to be able to fill in some of the blanks and for us to really understand what was happening with her. So there are a ton of, like, right after he leaves her apartment one of these days, she immediately is texting her friend being like, yeah, like he was just here. He was like being weird though. He was looking in the closet. She documents a lot through her text messages. So in that way, she still is kind of like able to tell us her story. So on February 1st at 5:33, she's seen on her surveillance video for the last time. I'll show you guys that in a second. Farwell comes over and he leaves at 9:45. And the last time that Sandra's phone, according to her Apple Health data, ever moves is at 9:40. So that's what I mean by, like, I know we have to say allegedly because he's innocent until proven guilty, but you explain to me any other way that makes sense. He stages it, allegedly, to look like a self-checkout, but also didn't even do that very well because I guess like the position of how he staged her would have been a very odd way for somebody to do that to themselves. Yes, see, healthcare data. We need to laugh. Thank you, Hank. Yes, her healthcare data, her doctor data. I say that part about her being staged kind of oddly to say that the police should have had more questions. And Zach, that sounds so lovely. I wish I was at the beach with loud waves. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the beach. That sounds so nice. The police should have had questions, especially because there were officers that worked with Farwell that knew about their relationship, and it doesn't take a dummy to put two and two together, except these are dummies and they didn't want to. Yeah. So the police are like, well, looks like she did it to herself. No need to ask any questions. And the medical examiner comes back and rules with them. And that's that for a long time. There weren't even news articles or anything about her. Literally for the first, like, if you do the, like, if you set the parameters on Google and Google her name, like nothing comes up for years. It's so terrible. It's terrible for her legacy, like that. It's just terrible. It's sick abuse of power is what I'll say about that. The Massachusetts, so like Michael Morrissey in the district attorney's office has still not changed the ruling of the medical examiner. So there are still no like state criminal charges that Farwell is facing. However, on August 28th, 2024, federal investigators did like a real investigation, like their affidavit. That's the document that I keep referencing when I say like it's in the documents later. This investigator, like you can just feel it when you're reading it, was like, I will leave no stone unturned so that this absolute scum on the bottom of my shoe of society will get what's coming to him and everybody will know what he did. So for that investigator, we see you, we appreciate you, because thank goodness there's somebody that knows what they're doing. So he's indicted on, because it's federal charges, you can't get charged with murder, whatever you're supposed to say, by the feds, just like the way that he should have been on state charges. So he is charged with killing a witness or victim. Andrea Burkhart broke that down much better than I ever could, but it's basically the like way that the feds could charge him. And there was a thing, I don't know if that was, you were making a joke, but there was a thing in it about wire fraud because he was texting her like while he was working, and because the checks that he's paid go like out of state and then back into the state or something, the feds could add on some like wire fraud charges. Yeah. We'll get to that. That's deep in the hole. They add on a charge for causing the death of Sandra's unborn baby in another year and some change later. And then in January of this year, they announced that they will not be seeking the death penalty since it's a federal case. There's no death penalty in Massachusetts, but because they're federal charges, they could have sought the death penalty. They're not going to. Some people were speculating that there was some type of like deal going on. I don't know anything more about that. but that's what happened. Yeah, it had to do with like his like Rockland Bank direct deposits, and because he was like doing gross things on company time, basically. Okay, so that's the timeline. To place this for you in the good old Norfolk County corruption, Sandra Birchmore is killed in February of 2021. John O'Keefe is in January of 2022. Anna Walsh is in January of 2023. And there is some overlap in the players in these cases. This isn't even everybody, but this was just quickly what I grabbed from some documents. John Fanning plays a big role in this. There's good old Sergeant Mike Lank, Trooper Clark, keeping his nose clean, Connor Keefe, widow baby Keefe. Nicholas Guarino plays a pivotal role in a solid investigation of all of the technology in this. I'm being very sarcastic. But I'm actually not even going to touch that because I am still kind of confused about like who knew about the text messages and when, if anybody can fill that in for me. Or basically, I'm confused why it does seem like Guarino did know about the text messages. There's like 30,000 text messages between Sandra and Farwell, and it does seem like he knew about them, but then why did nothing come of that, I guess is my question. And is there a Kevin Albert connection? Is he involved? I didn't even see his name in this. Oh, what did he respond to the scene? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so a lot. So that Guarino did know about the text messages, but Fanning was like, no biggie. Got it. Gross. Maybe we should start with, well, okay. That's Matthew Farwell and his fraternal twin brother, William Farwell, who in January, he moved now to New Mexico. And in January, he was arrested for domestic violence. So solid, good guys. Okay, this is the surveillance video from Sandra's apartment building. And if you are new to the case and you're just listening like I normally do, this is a good time to watch because there's no sound, but you kind of see, this is basically all a jury would need, plus the Apple Health data. And then on top of that, they will have so much more. So that was Sandra getting into the elevator, and the time is, you guys, I'm so bad at 5:15. It's and it's a snowstorm. It's like everybody stay safe in the snow. So she like is going outside now. It's 5:44 to, I think she was going to clean off her car. She comes back in. Yeah. It always like really, there's like something about watching something bad that you know is going to happen, and it's like you want to stop it and you know you can't. Okay, so this is now 9:28, is that? And that was Matthew Farwell, who just came in. Actually, I want to pause for 1 second. Apparently, so this is like the height of COVID, and apparently he was like a notorious like anti-masker, and there he is wearing protecting everybody from COVID or protecting himself and his face. So he comes in at 21:27 and then goes up in the elevator, leaves at 21:56, and Sandra's never heard from again. Gross, sick man. The very next day, Matthew Farwell is at Newton Wellesley Hospital. I don't actually know if that was true. Whoops. He's at the hospital because his wife is giving birth to their third child. So sick, like that actually. He goes like basically right from Sandra's to the hospital and is there. Oh. And is there when his child is being born. Gross. Oh, it like literally gives me the chills. So that's the overview. Does anybody have any questions? I have questions. Give me a second. Let's see. Yeah, and like so there's a whole bunch of like little details that also just prove what he did, but I guess again, allegedly, supposedly until innocent until proven guilty, but like she had just put a load of laundry in. Don't put a load of laundry in and then take your own life. Like it just doesn't happen. Thank you, Standing Stones. That was very sweet. Why would I hate you? Yeah, like this Genosaurus Rex Esquire, I like that name, held his baby with his schmurder hands. Like, it's literally gives me chills. Disgusting. Okay, wait. Law Girls Not Attorney said, fun fact, I don't believe that he was confirmed as not the father credibly. Oh, interesting. It was only reported by the Boston Globe on a very suspiciously important day. Interesting. I love a good tinfoil hat. And like I said earlier, if he was or wasn't, actually doesn't matter because he thought he was. So she was putting pressure on him to say, like, I want you to sign the birth certificate. I want the baby to have your last name. So in the end, that detail is actually not at all like relevant to the case. Like the relevance would be if it is another one of these sick men that groomed her and took advantage of her. Let's look into that too. Besides that, there is not relevance to Matthew Farwell's guilt or innocence, is what I'm saying. I had something else to say about that. It will come to me. But every single thought just left my brain. I'm just so grossed out. Gross. Okay. I have two different documents, two different kind of like roads that we could go down. I have the most recent Farwell's opposition to motion to detention, which basically means let me out of jail. I don't like it in here. Everyone's mean to me in here because I'm a sick man and I was a police officer and a child predator. And they don't like either of those things in here. And I'm double. So let me out. I think that's what we'll read because this is the other document. I think I'll do another show where we kind of do like the full overview. This is more like where it stands today. Should we do a fervent break to kind of just like cleanse the palate before we get back into this? That's like my one voice that I can do. My brother does accents really well, and I always wished that I could, and I can't. But all I can do is that one voice of everybody annoying gets that one voice. Yeah, let's do a little fervent break just to cleanse the palate and take a deep breath. Who has a fervent request? My brother is not single. He's married and has a little baby Oliver. He's so cute. Yeah, my brother is the best. Who has a fervent request? Like, I feel like it's like always just F you, Hank, but also whoops, I don't know what I just did. Welcome, Winnie's mom. Thank you for becoming a member. That was so nice. Oh, I think I might be able to gift memberships today. Let's see. Hold on. Or not. Membership gifting. Nope, that's not right. Nope, never mind, I can't. Okay. We believe I can't. Okay. Where is everything? Where is my brain? I do have one. Okay. Okay. We're going to do a little fervent break, and then we'll come back cleansed so that we can get back into the mud again, but at least we'll be like somewhat cleansed.
We believe that we can unlock an iPhone with our ass. We believe that medical science is a bunch of crap. We believe that Sir Isaac Newton doesn't know shit about physics. We believe that Celebrite sometimes makes up timestamps but still is the best in the business. We believe that it is acceptable to rehome your family pet of 7 years. We believe that when we are harassed, that's the only time we shed real tears. We believe that we love John O'Keefe, but our group chat showed no compassion. We believe that sometimes you slip on ice and land on your knuckles. Don't you hate when that happens? We believe in providing law enforcement with specific text strings that make us look good and then destroying the ever-loving shit out of our phones. I'm not done. And then taking that destroyed phone and dumping it on a military base. Totally normal. We believe in manipulating people when they are most vulnerable. We believe we have to tell each other what to say to Channel 4, even though it's supposedly the truth. We believe that you're dumb enough to believe that John's injuries came from an SUV. We believe that if we put a billboard up, we can shift the narrative and point the finger back at the woman who was acquitted twice. We believe in disgracing the memory of a law enforcement officer and turning his tragic death into the biggest spectacle. Now shut up, look the other way, and give us money! Sincerely yours, the House Defendants.
McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. We got you right where we want you. We're gonna threaten you with defamation lawsuits. Got Al and Damon shaking in their boots. They scared they bit off more than they can chew. Hold on, wait a minute, what does that say? 23 pages in and I'm only halfway. scavenger. Never thought that I would be a penny pincher. The sweet whacker got me down to my last dollar. I still think she wants this decorated dude. I should call her. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. There ain't no party like a McAlbert third party. Now they're out here calling us the house defendants. How the hell do we even contest this? Guess Karen really wants her vengeance. Oh shit, now we're known as the house defendants. House defendants, we the house defendants. House defendants, we are house defendants.
I need to get better at knowing how to come back from those. There was just, where am I? I feel like Kim right now. Why am I so little? Okay. Okay, two things that I was just thinking of. Number one, I want somebody just went and subscribed to Fervent. If you're not subscribed, please go do that. And that just reminded me of how much I love Melanie Little, because the other day she showed, I forget even what she showed, maybe the Fervent recap videos of Kelsey's trial in her stream, and told people to go subscribe. And then like Fervent got over 1,000 new subscribers from that. And I just feel like Melanie is so good at using her platform to build people up and lift people up. And I just love her for that so much. I also saw a comment that now I can't find, but one of you just asked about, somebody had made a video, like a Fervent style video about Kelsey's trial. Where did that go? But I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think we should watch that because it was really well done. And the video especially was so well done, and I'm trying to find it. It was the person's handle on X is Coffee with Karen. I'm gonna put a link to that, but let's help out Coffee with Karen, like how Melanie helped Fervent. Also go subscribe to Fervent. But why isn't this working? Nothing is working for me right now, and okay, maybe we can do it this way. Okay, this is this is her channel, and stop sharing. Nothing's working. Okay. But now the sound isn't working. Hold on. Bear with me. Or don't. Okay. Oh my goodness. Why isn't any sound working? I did it. It was just on mute. Silly me. Okay. Share screen. We're getting there. So this is not Fervent, but Fervent style video, and we love that. I can't do that because then I can't see you guys. Well, I don't know if you can't hear it. Hold on. How come nothing's working? Okay, let me try one thing. And you guys, okay, let me try one thing and I'll tell you a random story while I'm doing it so that there's no dead air. What do you guys want to hear a story about? Want to hear a story about the day that Carter was born? So, or no, okay, I'm going to tell you about the day that I found out I was pregnant because it was crazy and the anniversary of it just passed and it was kind of nuts. So you know how on March 13th, 2020, it was the day that the whole world shut down? We'd been like trying to have a baby for like a year and I was teaching kindergarten then, and I was standing at my like dismissal duty. And it was my job to wear a like reflective vest and tell people that they couldn't go down one of the side streets near us. So I'm standing there and literally all of a sudden I was like, wait, I like think I'm pregnant. And it was the weirdest feeling. And I went home, took a pregnancy test, told my husband, like, oh my God, we're having a baby. Like, this is really happening. Then I got an email like 7 minutes later that was like, from the director of our school that was like, we're closed for 2 weeks due to COVID. And we didn't like know what COVID was. Then why isn't this working? And so I spent my like first trimester of being pregnant with Carter, just like sitting on the couch being like, what is the world right now? And then fast forward to November of 2020, that's when Carter was due. And it was the election. It was like that big Trump and Biden, and the whole world was at odds with each other. And I went to a doctor's appointment. So the election was Tuesday. We didn't know who was going to be president like that whole week. And then I went to a doctor's appointment on Thursday and they were like, oh, your like blood pressure is elevated. And I was like, yeah, like so is the whole world right now. Everybody's is. And they were like, no, that means like the baby's coming soon. And I was like, no, I really think it's because like everything's up in the air right now. Like what's happening with what's going on? That Saturday, we like got the results of the election and I fell asleep. It was like I just sat down on the couch and suddenly I was asleep. And then suddenly I was awake and my mother-in-law is a labor and delivery nurse. And I sent her a text message and I was like, do you know if your water broke? And she was like, some people don't. And I was like, I think my water broke. And then I gave birth to Carter and now he's here. Anyways, look, I did it. Why is there still no sound? We're never going to be able to do this. I don't know. Where is the sound? Well, I don't understand why there's no sound. Why is there no sound? Why is there no sound? I'm just going to link it. Sorry. Go subscribe to Coffee with Karen. That was a nice little palette cleanse. I tried doing that and this is my last try. Also share tab audio. Now there's no sound even for me. I have no idea. Sorry, I tried. Try again another day. You should all just go watch it. It was cute. Okay. Back to these scumbags. Okay, let's find the scumbags again. now that I have like 50 things open. Yay, scumbags. So what we're going to do now, this is okay, this is the opposition. This is the wham ambulance let me out of jail document. And he filed it on March 26th, so this week. And let's get into it. I was trying to share a video. Yes, he was allowed. It wasn't like that part of COVID. Oh, hi, expert. So the other night, so I got sick this week and flaked on this lovely human right here. But the week before, I told him it was midnight and I was like, all I want to do right now is rearrange my room. He was like, do it. And I was like, no, I'm going to wake Carter up. So I did rearrange my room. Welcome to my new setup. Okay. This is what we're going to read now. And buckle up. It starts, Matthew Farwell. Oh, actually, it starts with a quote. I think it is tacky when these documents start with a quote. The only other, maybe it's not tacky, maybe I'll see one that I really like when they do it, but the only other one that comes to mind is the most recent Karen Reed dealer filing, where he started with her quote. And it's like, it just feels like reading like a young adult book, and it's silly to me. So this document starts with a quote that says, in our society, I can't do anything right now, you guys. In our society, liberty is the norm, and detention prior to trial or without trial is the carefully limited exception. Okay, well, you know what? You, sir, fall under the carefully limited exception because you're disgusting. Oops, hold on. Ah, there's this tiny human here. Hold, please. I don't want him on camera. Hey, love you. Sorry. I just know how weirdos on the internet are. Okay. Matthew Farwell, by and through undersigned counsel, requests that this honorable court conduct a detention hearing and release him pursuant to blah, blah, blah. Also, I'm not going to read the legal stuff that I don't understand. So I don't even know how you read that. So I'm not going to. He submits that the government cannot meet its burden to demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that his release would pose a danger to the community, or by a preponderance of the evidence that he presents a serious risk of flight and or obstruction, and that he must be released. Okay. He further submits that the factors set forth in blah, blah, blah support his release on pretrial conditions. As discussed below, Mr. Farwell's personal history evinces, I've never heard that word before, evinces extraordinary service to both his country and his community. He has extensive family and community ties to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and he has no prior criminal record, convictions, or arrests. Funny how you don't have any prior convictions or arrests when you're a police officer. Doesn't mean that you weren't doing bad things. Perhaps most tellingly, however, in the years after Miss Birchmore's death, and notwithstanding the lengthy Mass State Police investigation and excessive press coverage, Mr. Farwell conducted himself like an innocent man, like the innocent man that this court presumes him to be. He lived in the same home with his family, including his 3 young children. He built his own business from the ground up. He maintained the same contact information and associations. He participated in the attendant civil suit and Massachusetts post proceedings, and he did not intimidate or influence any witness nor destroy any piece of purported evidence. Pause. Yeah, because he thought his friends were covering for him and that he got away with it, and he didn't need to intimidate or influence any witness because he murdered the one. He took out the one that was a problem. What do you mean? He didn't, he is on trial. He is facing the charge of killing a witness. Like, how are you going to use, oh, he didn't intimidate a witness as your like reason for why you should get out of jail for killing a witness? Are you kidding me? And okay, you maintained the same associations. Yeah, of course you did, because they're loyal as shit. Like was so grateful that he had such shitty people surrounding him that he didn't have to distance himself from them. They knew about his relationship. They didn't tattletale on him and get him in trouble, and they covered for him. Expert. Let me give you the briefest rundown. Or you could just go back to the beginning, but I don't want you to because I like that you're here now. We are talking about a young lady named Sandra Birchmore who was killed in February of 2021 by allegedly, supposedly, a man named Matthew Farwell, who was her like leader in a program called the Police Explorers Program. From the age of 12, he was in his 20s. He groomed her. He sexually essayed her. Okay. He raped her. He did every gross thing that you can think of a person in power doing to a young lady, child. That's what he did. And then he took her life, and it's disgusting. So that's who we're talking about. And the reason why I wanted to do this, just for anybody who just popped in, is that Kelsey Fitzsimmons was able to tell her story because she survived, thank God. And Sandra Birchmore is not able to tell her story. And if nobody tells your story in this state, it's starting to become really clear that if you're not around to tell your story and nobody tells your story, they're going to tell their own story. And that is exactly what Matthew Farwell is starting to do in these documents. And he's just starting to lie. And it's gross and it's disgusting. And I think it's really important for us to be a voice for Sandra Birchmore because she's not here to do that. Back to this, why this little whiny baby thinks that he doesn't need to be in jail. Should he be released on the conditions proposed below, or any condition the court deems just, he will appear for trial and comport himself in the same peaceful and respectful manner that he has over the past 5 years. Although BRA, I don't know what that means, presumes pretrial release on personal recognizance in this case, there is a panoply of release conditions available to reasonably assure Mr. Farwell's appearance and the safety of the community, including 1, release to his mother as a third-party custodian. Oh, because she did such a good job with her children. The other son was also involved in this grooming of Sandra Birchmore and gross things. And now he's over doing some DV stuff in New Mexico. So yeah, we should let her take on some more parenting responsibility. She's done great so far. 2, live with third-party custodian, maintain residence, and do not move without prior permission of U.S. probation. 3, confinement to residence with exceptions for legal, medical, mental health, employment, and or family obligations approved by probation. Oh yeah, because that kind of house arrest went really well for Brian Walsh and Anna Walsh. So that's what he was on. Submit to location monitoring, restrict any approved travel, blah, blah, blah. Basically, they're like, we'll do anything, let him out. Mr. Farwell offers these proposed conditions for the court's consideration, but argues that he is entitled to the least restrictive set of conditions that the court deems appropriate. You are not entitled to anything. You thought you were entitled to Sandra Birchmore. You were not. You are not entitled to anything. It does seem like his wife is no longer, it seems like if he was still with his wife, that would have been one of the suggestions for places that he could have lived. So I hope that she's okay. I also hope that she didn't know, because if she did know, I don't have the same level of sorry for you. Background. Sandra Birchmore's death by taking her own life was a tragedy, and the federal government's allegations that Mr. Farwell instead killed her are undoubtedly serious. Undersigned counsel expects, however, that much of what the government declaratively states as facts in its motion and accompanying affidavit are issues that will be heavily contested and litigated at trial. I don't care what's in those documents. This is a pause from that. I don't care what's in those documents. All I needed to see was that surveillance video and the time that her phone stopped moving. Everything else is extra. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. Stephen gets it. He was the last person to see her alive. How is he entitled to anything? Hi, common sense investigator. Okay. Okay, we're about to get into some like victim blaming, so just FYI, take care. Whether Miss Birchmore's death was taking her own life, as the Massachusetts Office of the Chief Medical Examiner pronounced, yeah, this is why they needed to do a better investigation, or a homicide, as this federal prosecution alleges, is the critical issue in this case, one upon which the government ultimately bears the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This is especially true where, 1, Sandra Birchmore had a substantial and documented history of ideation about that. I'm going to pause there for a second. Because of him, no wonder. Like, she was taken advantage of for years. Of course, that's going to mess with your mental health. And she was seeing a therapist regularly that has gone on the record to say that though she had experienced that in the past, she was in a much better place mentally at that time and had not expressed any type of ideation in a while, and it does not apply right in that moment. 2, this is the best that they can do. On February 1st, the date the government alleges Miss Birchmore was killed by the defendant, she Googled the following: what color is the suicide ribbon? Pause. What? Okay. Well, if you're going to take your own life, then it doesn't matter what color the ribbon is. So that seems like a question that maybe she was just curious about. Maybe she was watching a YouTube show about something and was wondering what, maybe she was supporting who cares? That is not a reason why this crud of a man should be let out of jail. Like, that's your number 2. That's okay. 3, Dr. Maria Capo Martinez, the forensic pathologist employed by the OCME, conducted the autopsy of Miss Birchmore. The OCME ruled her death a taking her own life. Well, you know what? Dr. Michael Bodden, Linda Kenny Bodden's husband, was hired by Sandra Birchmore's family, and he is better than you, Dr. Maria Campo Martinez, and his autopsy concluded that you are wrong and that she took her own life. So I'm going to side with Dr. Michael Bodden. 4, the government sought a second expert opinion from an additional board-certified forensic pathologist and medical examiner, this one employed by the United States government. That forensic pathologist and medical examiner concurred with the OCME's findings that she took her own life, blah, blah, blah. 5, the government, rejecting these expert conclusions, sought a third opinion from William Spafford Smock, a specialist in the field of emergency medicine. Dr. Smock opined that Ms. Birchmore was strangled and died by homicide. Dr. Smock is not a forensic pathologist, nor is he board certified in any specialty. I don't know. Sounds like you got that one right. So, certified by me. That has a footnote that says, it is undersigned counsel's understanding that the family of Sandra Birchmore hired forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bodden to review the findings of the OCME, but he was not retained by the government in this case. Okay. 6, on October 24th, 2024, Fox 25 News reported that on August 16th, 2024, 9 days before Matthew Farwell was arrested in this case, Dr. Smock, along with individuals from the Mass State Police, the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, met with Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Mindy Hull and Dr. Maria Capo Martinez at the office of the OCME. 2 sources told the news outlet that federal authorities wanted Dr. Hull to know they disagreed with the determination that Birchmore died from taking her own life. Okay. See Ted Daniel. Hi, Ted Daniel. And then there's a link. The defense first learned of this meeting from media reporting, and after requesting additional information from the government, understands that no notes were taken or report written about this meeting. Okay. Well, sounds like they were getting their ducks in a row because they were about to take your boy in where he deserves to be. 7, despite efforts by the government and its retained expert to meet with OCME regarding its opinion of Ms. Birchmore's cause of death, OCME has not changed its conclusion that Ms. Birchmore died by her own hand. Yeah, I have questions about why you haven't. Footnote, see Laura Grimaldi, the Boston Globe. Okay. I don't want to see that right now. Although it should be obvious, given Mr. Farwell's right to be presumed innocent, the district court's recent caution must be repeated. Quote, the government's allegations against Mr. Farwell are just that, allegations, and have no evidentiary significance. Consistent with Mr. Farwell's position that his innocence will be borne out at trial and that the government should try its case before a jury and not in the court of public opinion, the forum to determine his guilt or innocence is not a detention hearing. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Some legal stuff that I don't know and some random quotes. Pause for a sec. You know how you know that this guy is super guilty? You know our friend Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know, and you know how he takes his time to make a decision about every single one of these defendants to the point where he'll literally be like, yes, that was good evidence, but like I still want to hear what the other side has to say, and I like hearing both sides. I like when we can disagree. He read one of these documents, the federal charges one, and he was like, I don't even know if they're going to take this to trial. Like, this might be one, they have so much on him, he might just plead out because it's that deep. Like, I have never seen him decide so quickly that somebody was guilty. And if that's where the lawyer you know's head is at, that's where my head is at. Back to this. Even when charged with serious offenses, there is no mandate or requirement that defendants be detained, and the Bail Reform Act explicitly permits release for even those accused of the most serious crimes. Indeed, quote, the very reason that Congress directed district courts to consider factors beyond just the severity of the offense is the recognition that an individual is more than the crime of which that individual has been accused. Well, I guess that's true if you like steal lip gloss from Walgreens, like you're more than that decision. In this case, I actually think you are exactly what you have been accused of and worse, but nothing better and nothing more. As outlined, Mr. Farwell's personal history and conduct while under microscopic scrutiny for more than 3.5 years prior to this federal indictment demonstrate his respect for law and the proceedings. Wow. That's so nice that he respects the people that were covering for him. Mr. Farwell's established history substantially reduces, if not eliminates, any concerns regarding serious risk of flight, obstruction, or danger to justify release in this case. I disagree. A, Mr. Farwell's ties to Massachusetts and military service. Mr. Matthew Farwell is a lifelong resident of Massachusetts, a devoted son and father, and a decorated combat veteran and police officer who has served his country and community for nearly 20 years, since he first enlisted in the United States Army when he was 18 years old. Thank you for your service. His family has deep roots in the South Shore, where his mother, wife, oh, there it is, wife, and children still reside today. Doesn't say ex-wife. One of 3 children raised in a family that struggled to make ends meet in Stoughton, Massachusetts. Seriously? Mr. Farwell has worked his entire life, starting with 2 jobs as a teenager at Honeydew Donuts and a local tow truck yard, the United States Army, and later for both the Wellesley and Stoughton police departments. Though he traveled internationally and across the United States when deployed with the Army, it is here in Massachusetts where he built his life, career, and ultimately his own business. Are we supposed to compliment like if you just say enough nice things about Massachusetts, then you get let out? Like, what? In 2004, Mr. Farwell volunteered for the Army. Oh yeah, in 2004, when Sandra Birchmore was 4, you were volunteering for the Army at the youngest possible age and at a time when the United States was intensely involved in both the Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts. Just a few years after the attacks of 9/11, 9/11 has entered the document for some unnecessary reason. The principles of service were deeply instilled in him by his father and grandfather, and Mr. Farwell thought at one time that he would make a career in the military. But there's not little girls in the military, so he went into policing instead. That's a direct quote. Just kidding. He completed basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, volunteering and qualifying for explosive ordnance disposal training after passing intensive sustainability tests, suitability tests. Suitability, not sustainability. You get it. He completed advanced individual training at Redstone Arsenal in Alabama, and he was at an Air Force base in Florida, and then he went to Texas, and he was promoted to first class. Okay, private first class. Thank you again for your service. But you know what? It doesn't excuse what you did. In advance of deploying to Afghanistan in 2006, Mr. Farwell's unit at Fort Bliss partnered with local law enforcement agencies on EOD-related issues in 23 counties in Texas. Okay. He got some top secret clearance, and which required rigorous background investigation. Well, your background was fine then. You didn't do it. You hadn't started being a disgusting creep. Let's see what that footnote is. Okay, there's a footnote to the criteria. In March 2006, Mr. Farwell was deployed to Afghanistan, first to Bagram and then to Jalalabad, where he joined Task Force Paladin. Great. This is all great. This was all before you. I'm skipping ahead. I don't even care what you were doing. Okay, good. Thank you for your service again. He got promoted. Great. You were on a good path. What happened? Unless any of these footnotes say like, and then he realized he was a creep, I don't want to hear it. I don't really care what you did before you were bad. Yes. Enforcing intellectual convo gets it. This just shows that he was given every opportunity in his life and he still chose to violate Sandra's innocence. Just gross. Exactly. Oh, interesting. He was the groomie, not the groomer back then. Still doesn't excuse it. Upon his return to Massachusetts, Mr. Farwell moved back to Stoughton and eventually to Easton with his wife. He attended and graduated from the Police Training Academy and first joined the Wellesley Police Department. For those of you who are not local, not a lot happens in Wellesley with police. So, I mean, I'm sure it does, but it is a very affluent, quiet suburban town. While with Wellesley Police, Mr. Farwell earned several commendations for his vital work responding to emergency scenes and saving lives. Well, aren't you just the bee's knees? He joined the Stoughton Police, and within 1 year, he received a life-saving medal. That sounds like something you just made up, but I'm sure it's good. Meritorious Award and Commendation Award. He was promoted to detective in 2017 and continued to accrue commendations, blah, blah, blah. Interesting how we just skipped right to 2017. You told us a lot of details about 2004 to 2006. Why didn't we get all those details from 2010 to 2017? Say when you were just doing some really helpful side volunteer work with the Police Explorers program. Where's that? Why aren't we mentioning the Police Explorers program? That was helpful to the community. Why didn't you bring that up? B, state investigations and proceedings and Mr. Farwell's conduct prior to his federal arrest. Mr. Farwell's leave from Stoughton Police was swiftly initiated following the death of Miss Birchmore. Mr. Farwell's leave from Stoughton Police was swiftly initiated following the death of Miss Birchmore. What does that even mean? They weren't, so this is another reason why you can know that this is all a BS cover-up, because he wasn't being investigated in terms of like the Mass State Police, but then they were doing an internal investigation. He respected the process and lengthy investigations that followed. So their internal investigation was like, hey, we know what you did and we can't have you doing that anymore. So you need to go on leave. But like the Mass State Police were like, oh, nope, she took her own life. Both can't be true. Throughout an attendant Stoughton Police Internal Affairs investigation, the Mass State Police, the good old Norfolk County District Attorney's Office investigation, and the post proceedings, Mr. Farwell repeatedly showed he is far from a flight risk. He remained put, engaged counsel, and saw these matters through to their eventual dispositions. Ultimately resigning from the Stoughton Police Department in 2022, Mr. Farwell subsequently entered into a voluntary decertification agreement with Post. So this is what I'm talking about. It's like they're holding him accountable in terms of like, we don't want you to work here anymore, but you're also the police. And if you think that he shouldn't work there anymore, then you should also press criminal charges. Like either she took her own life and you believe that, and then none of this needs to happen, or he did it, and all of this needs to happen and then some. Can't have it both ways. Mere days after Birchmore's death, Mr. Farwell voluntarily spoke with Mass State Police investigators and consented to a search of his personal cell phone. Despite the government's claims that he later, quote, Googled the topic of revoking consent in Massachusetts, he never did so. Okay, well, there were a lot of other things on his phone. So they're like, he didn't make this one Google search you said he did, so let him out. Mr. Farwell also answered a civil lawsuit filed by the estate of Sandra Birchmore. The civil matter has stayed pending the disposition of this federal case. Notwithstanding the intense scrutiny of state investigations, which resulted in no criminal charges filed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts against Mr. Farwell in relation to Miss Birchmore's death, Mr. Farwell sought to maintain some semblance of normalcy for his family. This is why we need to be better, Massachusetts, because then he can just use this in his favor, and that's disgusting. Okay, so he just wants life to be normal for his family. You know who else did? I'm sure Sandra also wanted things to be normal for herself and her unborn child. Though the government concedes he, quote, went on with his life. Let's see what the footnote is for that. See transcript of motion hearing, quoting the government, quote, he went on with his life for 3 years before he was indicted. In truth, he worked incredibly hard to rebuild a life in the state where he was born and raised. You guys hear that? He worked hard. Far from the conduct of somebody intending to flee the district, Mr. Farwell took out a 10-year business loan to start his own business, which he named after his 2 sons and daughter. He obtained his commercial driver's license. Pause. I wonder if he obtained his CDL during the CDL scandal with the Mass State Police when they were just giving out CDL licenses in return for like fixing people's toilets and stuff, or like giving them like pools. He purchased a semi-truck and trailer to transport cargo and freight for his business, and he registered his business with the Secretary of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Pause again, sorry, but you're talking about, he stayed put. He's being a truck driver. A truck driver seems like a phenomenal gig and literally makes our country function. So don't take this the wrong way if you are or love a semi-truck transport driver, but that is also a very good job for somebody who wants to be able to fade into the background if needed. As a combat veteran, Matthew Farwell sought out medical and mental health services from the VA. I wonder why he needed mental health services. Could it be that whole schmurder that he did that was torturing him? I hope so. And I hope that he didn't get the help that he needed. He maintained and nurtured relationships of a close circle of friends and family, including his mother, who lives roughly 15 minutes away. His only travel since 2021 has been to visit family or briefly work out of state. Then where are you going in your semi-truck? You're just driving around Massachusetts in your semi-truck? And when his US passport expired in 2023, he did not renew it. Maybe his wife forgot to remind him and he's too big of a baby to remember to do that. Moreover, until his arrest in this case, Mr. Farwell remained a lawfully registered firearm owner and safely secured his firearms in a safe in his marital home. How is that an argument for why you should get out of jail? Neither before nor after Miss Birchmore's death did Mr. Farwell ever use any firearm or threaten to harm himself or others. What? Okay. Oh, he didn't use a firearm. He just used his hands. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention this much earlier, but Sandra Birchmore was 4'10" tall, and Matthew Farwell is 6'5" tall. So yeah, he didn't use his firearm because then it would have been obvious what he did. He just overpowered her because he's disgusting. A firearm would have been less hands-on and personal. He did it the worst way. After his license was suspended as a result of his arrest, all of his firearms were relinquished. Most importantly, however, Mr. Farwell, along with his wife, continued to raise their 3 young children in their family home, often treated like a pariah by former colleagues and community members. Pause. I cannot stress this enough. Former colleagues equals police officers. You cannot have it both ways. They did not investigate this as a homicide, but also his former colleagues are treating him like a pariah. But his former colleagues are the ones who could also make sure that there are state charges pursued for him. I don't understand. I forgot. I just saw The Expert and then I remembered it's the multiverse. Duh, we're in the multiverse. So like in one level of the multiverse, it was the multiverse doesn't even work here. It's worse than that. It's just a cover-up. With his name and reputation smeared across social media and the press. Too bad, so sad. In fact, 2 months prior to his arrest, local and national news outlets heralded a report by Dr. Michael Bodden, we like that guy, a forensic pathologist hired by the family of Sandra Birchmore. Headlines in People magazine and on CourtTV.com proclaimed that Matthew Farwell was an alleged schmurderer. Yeah, Court TV, former home of Julie Grant, known as a real beacon for the innocent. Matthew Farwell did not flee the jurisdiction in response to those so-called quote bombshells. He stayed put. He did not interfere with this investigation in any way, even as members of the public here in the Commonwealth and across the country called for his arrest and prosecution. And I'm glad they did. Mr. Farwell remained singularly focused on providing for his family and protecting them from the circus-like atmosphere generated in the wake of Miss Birchmore's taking her own life, and revelations surrounding his prior interactions with her. Well, this is the, pause. This is the sentence that had everybody all messed up about if the brother was the father of Sandra's unborn baby or not. Before I read this, I do just also want to reiterate for the 100th time, Matthew Farwell thought he was the father, so it doesn't even matter who actually was, but it does matter for us if there are other sickos that we want to see justice. Here's the sentence. While other men who had ongoing affairs with Miss Birchmore moved out of state after her death, Mr. Farwell remained in the same home and in the same town. Now, the footnote is in the middle of the sentence and is referring to while other men who had ongoing affairs with Miss Birchmore moved out of state. These include, according to the government's own evidence, Mr. Farwell's brother, who is a named defendant in the civil lawsuit, as well as the confirmed biological father of Miss Birchmore's fetus, who has thus far not been publicly named. So basically what caused the whole uproar was that you could read that sentence as Mr. Farwell's brother, who is a named defendant as well as the confirmed biological father, or you could read it as these are two separate people we're referring to. One is the brother, one is the confirmed biological father. They clarified that they meant it the second way, kind of, but not very clearly clarified, so it's still a little up in the air. Back to where we were before the footnote to say, oh, he remained in the same home in the place in the state that was not pressing charges on him. Of course he was. Where else? Why would he ever leave? This is fantastic for him. He got everything that he wanted. He wanted Sandra gone from his life, and he wanted to live with his family, and he got all of it. Where else is he going to go? Put simply, for more than 3.5 years after Miss Birchmore's death and until his arrest in the case, Mr. Farwell did not behave in any way that would indicate that he was either a risk of flight or risk of obstruction. He conducted himself peaceably and sought to quietly rebuild his life. Despite this, and despite surveilling him for months, heavily armed law enforcement agents arrested Mr. Farwell while he was alone with his 7-year-old son on August 28, 2024. Now, do I love that they did that? No, not for anything having to do with Matthew Farwell at all whatsoever, but his son is going to have enough to deal with when he fully is able to understand what is going on with his dad. I don't love that we also added the trauma of seeing his dad get arrested in public while it was just the two of them and there was nobody to like take care of him. I don't love that, only for the son and for no defense of Farwell. But like, I wish that they didn't do that to that poor kid. Mr. Farwell was respectful. He was not armed, and he submitted to arrest without incident. Well, thank goodness. In late August 2024, Mr. Farwell was charged by indictment with killing a witness/victim in violation of the whole blah, blah, blah. I literally don't even know how you would type that symbol on your computer. I don't know what it means or what you call it. If anybody wants to help me. More than a year later, in mid-October 2025, the government superseded with an indictment charging killing a witness/victim in violation of blah, 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 and thereby causing the death of the child in utero. Yeah, you did. Okay, he has pleaded not guilty. It means section of law. Thank you. Section of law. Does it have like a fancy name? Prior to Mr. Farwell's initial appearance and arraignment in this case on August 28, 2024, the government filed a motion for detention. In support thereof, the government appended by affidavit by Special Agent Chini Castruita with the FBI. Was that the end of that sentence? Appended an affidavit. Okay. On September 7th, 2024, on the advice of counsel, Mr. Farwell consented to a voluntary order of detention without prejudice. On September 9th, 2024, this honorable court entered an order of voluntary detention, quote, without prejudice to the defendant, blah, 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 some law stuff. On December 9th, oh, that was, my timeline was wrong. I got to fix that. On December 9th, the government notified this court that it did not intend to seek the death penalty. Argument. There is a presumption of release in this case. The BRA directs judges to order pretrial release on personal recognizance or an unsecured appearance bond unless they find that, quote, that such release, blah, 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 oh, you're going to be good. Some legal stuff, legal stuff, legal stuff. More legal stuff. Basically, This all is saying he's innocent until proven guilty, and he's innocent in general because we said so. In assessing Matthew Farwell's mental condition, the court should not punish him for seeking treatment from the VA. Oh, that's not, I don't think that's why they're punishing you. I think they're punishing you because you killed Sandra Birchmore. I don't think it's that he, okay. As a combat veteran, these are services to which he is entitled. His willingness to engage in treatment and his compliance therewith is commendable. He should be applauded for this, not penalized. Okay, everybody, give him a round of applause. He wants to be applauded for going to the VA. So everybody right now, clap for him. Clap for Farwell. He went to the VA. Good job. Indeed, the court ought to credit any criminal defendant, especially our veterans, who identify their needs, seek out appropriate assistance, and comply with their treatment obligations. Yeah, I agree. That's great. I will advocate for veterans' mental health all day, every day. That's not the problem here. The problem is what you did to Sandra Birchmore for a decade. Are they confused? Like, do they know why he's in jail? What do they think happened? Have they seen the surveillance video? Have they read the documents at all? Okay. Similarly, Mr. Farwell's unblemished history of lawful gun, we're still talking about that he owned a gun and that's not what the problem, what do they think happened? What do they think he's being charged with? Because they're not talking about it. His arrest in this case necessitated the seizure of lawfully owned firearms. You said that already. And that's still not the problem. Doesn't matter how many times you say that. Finally, the court cannot cite, you haven't said anything yet. Finally, the court cannot cite Mr. Farwell's present lack of employment as grounds for detention in this matter. He has been held in custody and unable to work. They're just saying they're like, and don't pay attention to that pimple on his face. The only reason why he has a pimple is because the soap in the jail is not good. If he was able to use his Bay Harbor beauty products at home, his skin would look much better. That's not the problem. However, he was gainfully self-employed at the time of his arrest, and they verified that he registered his company on January 21st, 2022. And he is endorsed to operate motorcycles, combined tank and hazmat, and the operation of any vehicle that would be referred to as double or triple. Furthermore, even if Mr. Farwell is not able to obtain employment before his October 5th, they're talking about him like getting a job. You're not getting out of jail. Before his October 5th, 2026 trial date, he will continue to receive a monthly stipend from the DA. The VA is paying him. When can they stop those checks? I feel like there's better use of their money. Mr. Farwell submits that the BRA requires that he be released because, as he stands before the court today, he is neither a serious risk of flight nor obstruction, nor would his release pose a danger. If this court disagrees, the detention factors, blah, 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 support a finding that there are conditions available that, in whole or in part, are more sufficient to mitigate any such risk. Thus, the BRA mandates that he should be released subject to the least restrictive set of conditions, including those proposed here. And didn't we read that exact thing already? Is this just like a repeat? What's happening now? Didn't we literally see that already? Did they just copy and paste and not realize that they did? So he's not going to leave Massachusetts. And even for defendants facing capital punishment, pretrial release is warranted where they have substantial family and employment ties to the community. They're like, he's not going to get the death penalty, so you should let him out. Okay. Detention orders have also been upheld where defendants have substantial means and or resources to flee. And then they just cite a random case where somebody owned property in Mexico, affirming detention order on serious risk of flight, grounds for defendant charged with foreign murder, where he had accumulated vast wealth, owned property in Mexico, traveled frequently, and had extensive overseas contacts, was intimately familiar with living long periods outside the country. What? Like, okay, well, that random person didn't flee. As outlined herein, Mr. Farwell has demonstrably long-standing and deep ties to his local community in Massachusetts. You have said that 100 times. He has no ties to any other jurisdictions, aside from his brother who relocated out of state and with whom he has no contact. Gee, well, maybe because the common ground that you guys had was Sandra, and maybe his brother's mad at him because he took Sandra's life and they weren't. The thought that was just about to come out of my mouth is so sick, I can't even say it. Moreover, as part of their investigation, the government obtained Mr. Farwell's international travel We get it. You didn't go on vacation. One need look no further, however, than Mr. Farwell's own conduct. You said this already, you guys. Now they're just going to say like, oh, he was a good boy when he was getting away with everything. Do these documents usually repeat themselves this much? This is bananas. Is there a word count? Like they had to get to a certain number? This feels like when a kid is just trying to get to like 15 pages. Okay. Well, he's not going to leave. He's not going to have guns. And let me guess, he is going to stay in Massachusetts. Okay. This looks like new stuff. Hold on. B. Mr. Farwell does not pose a serious risk of obstruction. As with flight, the BRA places the burden on the government to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that a defendant poses a serious risk of obstruction and that no condition or combination of conditions would reasonably assure the protection of the community from such obstruction. Here, the government fails to establish a serious risk that Mr. Farwell, if released, would obstruct justice. Furthermore, a, quote, safety concern for potential witnesses is clearly insufficient. A court must identify an articulable threat posed by the defendant to an individual or the community. First, the government suggests that the charge itself, by definition, rooted in obstruction and detention, is justified on that basis alone. If this were true, then there would be a presumption of a risk of obstruction for all defendants charged with or convicted of obstruction or obstruction type offenses. Okay. Instead, the only presumption that applies in this case is the presumption of innocence. Ooh. They put in a new author for that sentence right there. That's the first good sentence I've read. Wait. There would be a presumption of risk of obstruction, but instead, the only presumption that applies in this case is the presumption of innocence. In asserting that Mr. Farwell allegedly asked his adult affair partner, to delete mutual messages that might prove an affair. So, okay. He asked Sandra to delete messages because that was not an affair. Sick. And conducted 2 Google searches on the scope of consent and Celebrate technology. The government ignores the equally consistent, innocent reasons that would explain this conduct. Hold on. Question. This part of the sentence right here, this sounds like it's talking after the fact, in between Sandra's murder and when he was arrested, when the investigation was happening. So are they saying that he had an adult affair partner and then he said, can you delete these messages? Because that's how I read that, and that feels okay. The government ignores equally inconsistent, innocent reasons that would explain this conduct. It also ignores the fact that Mr. Farwell did not revoke consent or delete content on his phone after being contacted by investigators. Although the government emphasizes Mr. Farwell's law enforcement history and military experience with explosives, there was no indication whatsoever that any physical evidence was tampered with or destroyed prior to or after Ms. Birchmore's death. Hold on. Because he has experience with explosives, they are using that to back up that he didn't tamper with the crime scene. He staged her body. So, yeah, I think he did. This includes Ms. Birchmore's cell phone, computer, journals, and other writings which were undisturbed in her apartment. I read that as, this includes Ms. Birchmore's cell phone, computer, journals, and other writings that he wishes he had destroyed. Oh, this is good to know. Thank you, Ms. Jessica NB. Emily, while he's in custody, the VA cuts off all benefits and payments. Good. So were they saying that if he does get out on bail, then he would resume those payments? Yeah. I'm screaming at the television right now. He absolutely tampered. That was like the whole, like, he wasn't going to set off a bomb. Like, he wasn't going to use his explosives experience to tamper with the crime scene. That would be very obvious. Yeah. Matthew messed with Sandra's closet door. She told her friend. Exactly. And then that's where she was found. So he was like checking to see if that's okay. Moreover, in arguing that Mr. Farwell, quote, lied to Massachusetts state police troopers by minimizing the extent and nature of his relationship with Ms. Birchmore, the government also ignores the fact that he never, quote, he never italicized, denied the affair and admitted seeing her, breaking up with her at her apartment on February 1st. Okay, hold on. So they're saying, okay, Farwell lied to the Mass State Police troopers because he did minimize the nature of his relationship with Sandra, but you're ignoring the fact that he didn't deny the affair, and he did admit seeing her and breaking up with her in her apartment. So, like, forget about the fact that he minimized their relationship. He told you that he did have an affair, not an affair. Even assuming arguendo, I've never heard that word either, that the government's allegations regarding obstruction are true, however, the inquiry for serious risk of obstruction is not whether a defendant has previously engaged in obstruction or an attempt to obstruct. This, quote, only propels the government halfway to its objective. The question is not simply whether Farwell's actions can be considered obstruction. Past actions can be considered obstruction, but whether there is serious risk of obstruction in the future. I will give them this one. I don't think that there's any risk of obstruction moving forward because they have everything that they need and they have all the evidence. And I don't think there's anything that he can do because the witness he killed. So 1 point for you guys in this word salad. I mean, it's not a point that helps you, but I do agree at least with this. A whole bunch of things in parentheses that I don't feel like reading. This does not mean that a defendant's past behavior should not be part of the serious risk of obstruction calculus. Quote, but the government needs to show that there is serious. We already said you get that point. Okay, you get the point, blah, blah, blah. To the extent that as yet unproven allegations regarding past obstruction can establish a serious risk of obstruction, the court must also consider both Mr. Farwell's countless opportunities to influence witness testimony and or obstruct justice during the years after Ms. Birchmore's death, when he was the subject of lengthy investigations, and the complete absence of evidence that he did anything of the sort. Okay, you guys, let's do the assignment. Let's do what they want us to do right now. They said to think of all the countless opportunities to influence witness testimony. Who? What witness testimony would he be influencing? There was one witness, and he took her life. Who are they trying to insinuate that he could have influenced? Like, what are they? Okay. Specifically, not a single witness has indicated to the government that Mr. Farwell demanded, instructed, asked, or made any sort of effort to influence their statements or prevent their cooperation with law enforcement. Again, who would that have even been? Like, oh, he's not going to go to his cop friends that were covering for him and be like, hey, like, I don't even know what? Okay. Great. Significantly, the protective order governing law enforcement reports to this case does not require that witness names and statements be shielded from Farwell, and there has similarly been no allegation whatsoever that he has sought to influence or intimidate any witnesses after his arrest. Yeah, because anybody who's even on the witness list was helping him, and there were no witnesses. This is not a conclusion a reasonable person would come to. Exactly. Finally, Mr. Farwell submits that any concerns regarding obstruction can be sufficiently mitigated. Yeah, we get that. We already gave you the obstruction point. Okay. Mr. Farwell does not pose a danger. Okay. I mean, except for that really dangerous thing that he did after really being a dangerous menace to society for years, but sure. Moreover, neither the fact that a defendant has been charged with a crime of violence or that he may face a life sentence upon conviction established a presumption of danger. Yeah, what's he got? He's going to go witness intimidate Yuri and Fanning and Divine? Okay. That seems smart. Those people are all on his side. Genosaurus Rex said, Mr. Farwell seems dangerous to me. Yeah. From the text and murdering the only witness. Yeah, that's how I see it. Imagine writing this. Like, this is the Bob Motto was talking about how people are like seeing now like the importance and power of defense attorneys, and then like something like this really sets them back. An individualized assessment in this case demonstrates that the government has not and cannot meet its burden to show that Mr. Farwell poses a danger. Yes, he does. For more than 3.5 years, now we're just repeating ourselves again. It's like for 3.5 years, he was happy. He misses those times. He got exactly everything he wanted. Oh, look, he has guns, but not anymore. We're really saying this all again? Oh, he's the underlying Massachusetts. And anytime they say Massachusetts State Police investigation, I'm like, really? Like, who's doing the investigation? Because I don't know. I haven't seen the Massachusetts State Police ever investigate anything. Did Krusty write this? So yeah. Oh wait, hold on. This is new. The government's arguments regarding Mr. Farwell's danger to children. Yeah. Here it is. We finally figured out why he is a danger. In both the underlying Massachusetts State Police investigation and the FBI's investigation in this case, the government performed digital extractions on Mr. Farwell's phones and obtained records detailing his internet search histories and material in his iCloud accounts. In none of that evidence did the government find one iota of CP grossness or anything that would suggest any how do you say that word? Prurient? In anything that means he's interested in kids. You want to know why they didn't find any of that in his phone? Because he was doing it in real life. He didn't need to do anything gross on his phone because he was doing all of the gross things in real life. That's the problem. That's the whole point. That's why he's there. Okay. Both involve presumptions of pretrial detention, which do not apply here. I think you missed the point. To the extent that the court has remaining concerns about danger, should Mr. Farwell be released? Yeah, I have remaining concerns because you've said a whole lot of words in 23 pages so far, and none of them have addressed the actual reason why he's behind bars. If the court finds that Mr. Farwell is no, we already established this. He's not going to leave. He loves Massachusetts. He had 2 jobs when he was a kid. Okay, well, now just some boring stuff that's probably repeating itself over and over again. Even in Massachusetts state courts, where defendants are more commonly charged with murder and where those charged with first-degree murder have no right to bail, judges have issued pretrial release orders for murder defendants. Okay. Should the court find that Mr. Farwell's charges weigh in favor of detention, however, that does not end the inquiry. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. Kelsey Fitzsimmons had to stay behind bars because Judge McCarthy Naiman had a wedgie, and none of this, she didn't do anything. So this man needs to be quiet. There's too many words on this page. Wait, the way you know what Prudential Center. Prudent. Purgatory doesn't start with Pru. Puritan, purgatory, prudent. Thank you. It means something negative about something you should be scared of. It means something negative. Yeah. Well, then he should change his name to Prubern, however you say it. Mr. Farwell submits that his case falls squarely in this category, which is probably a category of liars. Although this is not the forum to determine Mr. Farwell's guilt or innocence, the government's claims about the weight of the evidence must be understood and analyzed through the lens of exculpatory and mitigating evidence that it both had in its possession at the time of the filing of the bail motion and did not cite and acknowledge therein. And now we're back to victim blaming. Are you ready? So basically they're saying now there were some things that the government had but didn't use in Mr. Farwell's favor, like Miss Birchmore's lengthy mental health history, including ideation and attempts dating back years before her death. Yeah, because she was getting essayed by your client. And now we're saying this again, that she Googled that the one Google search that she wanted to know what color a suicide ribbon was. They used that now twice. That's how good that piece of evidence is for them, apparently. The sexual proclivities the government attributed solely to Mr. Farwell that were in fact consensual features of Ms. Birchmore's relationship with multiple other intimate partners, including the actual father of the child. No. You do not get to do that when you took that child's virginity at the age of 15 when you were in your late 20s. She only knows anything that she knows about sexual relations because of your disgusting excuse for a human client. So no, those are not sexual proclivities. No, I hate that. I hate everything about that. Critically, the expert opinion of a board-certified pathologist with the federal government that corroborated OCME's findings that Ms. Birchmore took her own life. Now they're just talking shit about Mr. Smock again. I like Dr. Smock. The government's claims about the weight of the evidence must also be analyzed against the exculpatory evidence obtained after Mr. Farwell's indictment and arrest. Oh yeah, tell me about the exculpatory evidence. There was DNA testing, which revealed complex DNA mixtures from multiple contributors on nearly all tested evidence items, but all but one interpreted as having between 2, 4, or at least 4 contributors. Most notable, however, is the fact that Mr. Farwell was totally excluded from the DNA recovered underneath Ms. Birchmore's fingernails. No. Why are we even looking at DNA? He said he was there and we saw that he was there. What are we DNA testing to find out? He told you he was, we just read, he said he was there. The observations of first responders noted no signs of a struggle in Miss Birchmore's apartment. I mean, there was a broken necklace laying across the room. That seems like a sign of a struggle to me. Moreover, Mr. Farwell's repeated denials of paternity, both to Ms. Birchmore and to law enforcement, were proven true as DNA analysis confirmed that he was not the father. But he thought he was on that day. So they're saying the OCME determined that she took her own life. It is a fact which must be emphasized in the weight of the evidence analysis. Where 2 board certified, you said this part already. Oh, you have 2 people that agree with your wrong answer. Even where, hold on. They're just repeating themselves over and over again. And then they have a quote that says, to avoid falling down the rabbit hole into the world, What is this sentence? Hold on. This might be proof of the multiverse. Quote, to avoid falling down the rabbit hole into the world of sentence first, verdict afterwards, the court considers the strength of the evidence in terms of that evidence's bearing on the risk of harm to the community. What is happening today? I write this. Okay. Mr. Farwell's personal history. Didn't we see that already? If they say that he loves Massachusetts in this, I'm going to scream. Okay. He didn't use substances or alcohol, and he's never been on probation, parole. Great. That's nice. So he's a good little boy, except for the bad thing that he did, he was good. That's the conclusion. Conclusion. The BRA mandates that Mr. Farwell be released pre-trial. That sentence just reminded me of in The Office when Michael goes out and says, I declare bankruptcy. They're like, this mandates that he should be released. Well, no, it's not going to be. The government cannot demonstrate that he is currently a risk of flight, blah, 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 blah. Respectfully submitted, Joanne, Kimberly, Sandra. One of his attorneys' name is Sandra, and she's seeing her name over and over again about everything that he did to her, and she's to Sandra Birchmore. And this woman still puts her name on this and is like, let him out, free him. Ew. Joanne, I know you're just doing your job. And one thing that Melanie Little taught me is that you can't judge an attorney by their clients. However, I don't particularly like this document. I don't think you're a very good writer. I don't think you had any good arguments in it. I think you're kind of a disgrace to women. But you get your bag, I guess. So that's that. Joanne Daly. Oh, there's exhibits. Oh my God, they are such losers. Here's his medal. I mean, also, I just want to be really clear. It's not the medal I have a problem with. Congratulations to every single person in the United States Army who has a Joint Service Commendation Medal. That is embarrassing that it is in this document. Oh, a combat action badge. Well, that's cool. Do you think they just like Google image searched? Like his name's not on it. Like, how do we know that's his? They just Google searched. I'm going to start like ending things. Like when trolls troll me, I'm just going to put some, like my Newton Girls soccer trophy from 1991. Be like, I have a trophy. Leave me alone. Oh, there's his life-saving medal. No, he could never be a sea creature. He would be like, he couldn't even be the scum at the bottom of the ocean, at the top of the ocean, wherever the scum is. Yay, a life-saving medal. Now, you know whose life he didn't save? Sandra Birchmore. So I think we need to turn that in. I think that is one where it's like, you saved a life, take a penny, leave a penny. Like, you have to give it back now. Like, save a life, you get the medal. You take a life, you give the medal back. Because, ew. And that's the end of his opposition to motion to detention. What do you guys think? Should they let him out? I think they actually are. Just a little. I think they did already. Yes. And Sandra's baby. I'm so glad you reminded us of that, because I feel like the poor innocent little fetus gets lost in that. I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at Newton Girls Soccer. I don't know why that just came out of my mouth. can't remember now if they already ruled on this or not. Can I show you guys a site that I just learned about that probably people who are into this stuff already know, but I didn't? And so if you are interested in like court documents and stuff, I want to show you. Okay, it's called, hold on, crimetimelines.com. And it has like all of the kind of on like bigger cases that, yeah, like Ellen Greenberg's. But then when you go to one specific case, they have all the court filings all in one place. And like for Sandra specifically, they have them grouped by, so like these are her case files. This is about the investigation. And then these are the lawsuit that her estate filed. And then this is the investigation into Farwell and all of those documents. Then this is the brother. This is that animal control creep. And then I thought they had divine stuff too. Maybe that was in a separate place. And then they have a little like timeline of everything that happened. They have some of the like most incriminating text messages. I can't read this out loud, but that is disgusting. This is talking about the day that they engaged in a sexual relationship for the first time, and she was 15 years old. That's, yeah. So, where are these docs? So they're like, they have everything here, like anything you could ever, they have information about the, well, they spelled Stoughton wrong, but can't win them all. Yeah, they have a bunch of pictures and information about the Explorers program. They have the surveillance video. They have all of the like MSP investigation, the autopsy report, everything. Oh, there's the Robert Devine one. That's a good question. If anybody knows the answer, I don't. What was his dumb screen name when he was being a weirdo? It was like some guy's name from Top Gun or something. Yeah, Kyle Sharkey knows. Crimetimelines.com. It's great. So if you're ever just can't sleep like me and you're trying to find a whole bunch of documents to read, Marty Riggs, that was his stupid screen name. And then he was like, Marty Riggs wasn't me. And they were like, really? Because on this day, Marty Riggs said, like, I'm on patrol in this spot, and that's where you were, and you were the only one. And he's like, what a coincidence. Yeah, Lethal Weapon. If you guys don't know, I don't know anything about movies. Sorry. Yeah, and then he said, and then Divine, we have to do just a whole show on Divine. Maybe that's what I was talking to Kyle Sharkey, that I want to do a show with Andrea Burkhart sometime, but she's the one person that I'm so intimidated by her. Just like, what a gem of a human, and so smart and so knowledgeable and so snarky and funny. And I feel like I can't just do a show with her about like anything and be all over the place like this. I feel like I need to, yeah, I feel like I need to prepare. And she did a deep dive into all of his hearings. So maybe that's what I could talk to her about. I think if I ever do a show with her, I might just like, my tongue might actually just tie itself in a knot, and I'll just sit here like, just keep going. She is amazing. I mean this in the biggest compliment possible about her. I just am so intimidated by everything about her. That's a me thing, though. I need to get over that. We're work in progress. Should we do one more little like fervent break before I say goodbye, just because I'm having fun and Carter sounds kind of wild out in the hallway right now, and I don't really feel like having to deal with that yet if I don't have to. So let's do one more fervent song. Maybe during that break I can see if I can get that Kelsey song to play, and then I'll just stall some more probably and waste your guys' time some more. You guys are the best. That, like, who knew that just reading random court documents could be fun? I did not know that. Maybe other people did. Let's listen to I just picked a random one. I don't even know what it is. Oh, we'll do the attorneys then. I picked AJ's Brady list. So then I got to add Yannetti too. Can't leave anybody out. Thank you. Yeah, so when this is why Andrea intimidates me, because like she's so smart, knows like everything about everything. She probably wouldn't have gotten stuck on any of those words that I didn't know. But then also she says things like, we wish your mom didn't know about thrust. And that's so funny. Her coverage of Afro Man's trial was so good. She said something about how she said, oh, the testimony was dry, just like that officer's wife is every time that he gets home. Like, what? I just really, really, really admire her and everything about her. Okay. AJ, Yannetti, there's Bob. Okay. See you guys in a couple. Enjoy.
Morning, Dr. Walter.
Good morning. We haven't been formally introduced. Your whole name?
Robert Alessi, sir.
Robert Alessi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Got so much knowledge, flow so unique, call it path harmonic. Don't get too close or this nerd will spray. I'm a walking, talking word of the day, hey. But be careful, I'm not all brains. Got a mean left hook that'll change your day. Don't even think about coming for David, or I'll put your blood in an affidavit. With my black gloves, I will legally scalp you. Got me looking like I'm about to tattoo you. In your theory, so many holes I poke. Oh, it's more bullshit than the ARCA hoax. Oh, sorry, judge, but let me elucidate before you go and take our experts away. Yeah. We want the jury to hear the truth, that John didn't have a bruise. Oh, bah, 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 bah. It's what you do to me. Call me a lessonator, baby, I'm here for the kill. Talk nerdy to me, I'll be assiduous, baby, you know the drill. Bah, 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 bah. It's what you do to me. Call me a lessonator, baby, I'm here for the kill. I'll be assiduous, baby, you know. His cross exams are more like Hell's Kitchen. He'll beat your ass if you catch your bullshit and talk slick to Bob, and you'll have your netty swinging. Circle round your house like my name, Ian Whiffen, Mr. Burgess, you're faking degrees. Have you heard of the term mendacity? He knows now. How can a witness be talking so reckless and welch you to outer space with the Lexus? Once I get going, it's real hard to stop. My rhymes are sharp and they're hard as a rock. Got the young Yeti and it's fully stocked. Give me the rock, and I'll make the shot. Swish. How convenient that Google search is gone. But did you use Axiom? Probably not. Half man, half Vulcan, they calling me Spock. But let me assure you that it's just fine. Call me a lessonator, baby, I'm here for the kill. Talk nerdy to me, I'll be assiduous, baby, you know the drill. That's what you do to me. Call me a lessonator, baby, I'm here for the kill. Baby, I'll be assiduous, baby, you know the drill. Ooh.
Wait, okay, I need to play AJ's song because I can't leave him out, but I wanted to say Yannetti is the man, and on the camera. The other day, the trolls were being mean on Twitter, as they do, and I wrote this whole thing back, and Yannetti liked it, and I was like, I love that he likes my clap back to trolls. That is my new claim to fame. I'm obsessed. I'm going to play AJ's song, and then I think I downloaded that the song that Coffee with Karen made about Kelsey's, and if I didn't, then I'm giving up.
I put you on a pretty list. I'm gonna make you pay for this. Yeah, AJ's dangerous. Ooh, oh baby, I was born for this.
Yeah, I brought the West Coast to Dedham. Nobody is safe from my verbal venom. Put a witness on the stand and watch me shred 'em. Have 'em praying for peace, like the name John Lennon. A lawyer to match me? Well, I ain't met 'em. Don't believe me? Just ask Hank Brennan. Free can't read, and that was just the beginning. I'm never tired of winning. Got these middle-aged women waiting up to go swimming. Let's swim. I don't get nervous. I make people nervous. I don't get nervous. I make people nervous. I put you on a ready list. I'm gonna make you pay for this. Oh, and AJ's dangerous. Ooh, I put you on a ready list. Oh, sorry, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and KG, the real big threes. Yannetti, Bob, and me. Gonna come with the seat. Don't try me, you should know by now I always come with receipts. I'm out here penning letters like my name better roll. You got problems, Cox, and I think they're federal. Attorney Corey Hopkins, sure let him know. This ain't an episode, this a whole damn show. I don't get nervous, I make people nervous. I don't get nervous, I make people nervous. Ajax out here eliminating all you greasy motherfuckers. Ha ha ha. I'll put you on a Brady list. I'm gonna make you pay for this. Oh, yeah, AJ's dangerous. Ooh, I'll put you on a Brady list. Oh,
Little tiny me. Okay, I think I figured it out. So this next video is not Fervent. I'll put the link. This is from a request from 2 hours ago, but we're here now. We made it happen.
Ma'am, open the door. This is the police. We're gonna need you to give us your baby and your dog. Yes, ma'am, both of them. Don't make us ask again.
I'm the judge here. Okay. Give me testimony. Tap rack, what's that mean? 1 minute shaking makes the movie scene. Hey. Tap rack, hold up, wait. Which version are we supposed to take? He say, black job, tell the neighbor next door, then train officer in court for sure. Yeah. Tap rack, I just asked. Is this testimony for a podcast? Said he knew her habits, yeah, he drives right by. Knew where she parks, now why is that guy? Car down the road, now that's a clue. Or just something you notice passing through. Walked in ready, gloves already on. Hands free, always like something's wrong. He'll bring flex like part of the plan. Sir, this ain't tactical, this is theater rant. Tap rack, what's that mean? 1 minute calm, next the movie scene. Hey. Tap rack, what's that mean? Hold on, wait, like something walk good, get the green down. Tap rack, what's that mean? 1 minute calm, next the movie scene. Hey. Tap rack, what's that mean? No, not me. From I didn't know her till I knew where she be. That's a lot of detail for uncertainty. Now she's a whack job, you said it clear. Yeah. But also well-trained officer right here. So which one is it? Pick a lane, cause both pulling the same knife. I'm shaking, bird to action, start this story, don't know what it are. Said it sounds good, serving papers that day. No social worker, just vibes and okay. No safety check, no plan in sight, but gloves were on, so that's alright. Tap whack, say it again. Depends on the version you telling my friend. Yeah, tap whack. I just asked, are we hearing truth or a task? Tap whack, say it again. Depends on the version you telling my friend. Yeah, tap whack. I just asked, are we hearing truth or a task? He said one thing, then flipped it fast. Now we all stuck in a K-back loop. Yeah, tap whack, case in point. This ain't clarity, this is noise. If the story changes every time you speak, people are gonna start asking questions.
Isn't that good? That she said that was the first time that she had ever made one of these videos. AI is wild. Like, how does it look so real? Crazy. Also, speaking of Kelsey, Aiden is having Kelsey on his show tonight. So I'm positive I'll see all of you guys there. I am very excited to, again, just like for her to be able to talk and tell her story. She deserves all of the attention, fundraising, everything, because it also sends Justin the message. Like yesterday on Will's fundraiser, all I could think was like, Justin is obsessed with money, right? Like we know he tried to get the proceeds of her house, like everything. And for him to know that all these people she made $25,000 from a fundraiser in one day. And I know that he hates that. And I love that so much. Okay, this was really fun. And for a really heavy topic, I appreciate that you guys are here to make it something that we can see for the weight of it and for the importance of it for Sandra, but also, like find the joy in bringing light to this so that we can keep doing it. Because if it's too heavy, then we won't be able to sustain the attention and time that it takes to be able to do this. Ben Burnett, you're the best. If you don't follow Ben Burnett on Twitter, he needs to have about 50,000 more followers than he does, because every single thing that he says to these angry people on there is so funny. So thank you. I'm gonna set it up so that you guys are redirected to the other Mary B, because she's live right now and she's fun. So enjoy that. And I will see you guys tonight at Kelsey's interview. You're all the best. This was really fun. Have a great evening. Yes, tonight at 9 p.m. I love you all. Goodbye. Oh my gosh, wait, it's on my old outro. How do I, where'd my regular outro go? It was about to be Hank again. Oh no. Well, okay.
If you need a place to breathe, some stress to just relieve, then come watch Emily C, where we keep it drama free. We want justice for John O'Keefe, Aiden and Kelsey, waved bye bye to Morrissey. Let's clean up Norfolk County. Emily C, the one we need, reading sidebars with Corey, writing Hank diaries, giving the people what they need. It's my pleasure to entertain, keeping you laughing makes my day. Positivity all the way. What do we tell Satan? Not today. And now it's time to say goodbye. But before we say goodnight, just keep one thing